Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktabrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4 Chapter 11 Verse 26 Esha Bhutani Bhutatma Bhutesho Bhutabhavanah Svashaktiya Mayaya Yuktaha Sujatyati Chapati Cha Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super soul of all living entities. He is the controller and maintainer of everyone. Through the agency of his external energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates everyone. There are two kinds of energies in the matter of creation. Lord creates this material world through his external material energy, whereas the spiritual world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He is always associated with the internal energy, but he is always aloof from the material energy, aloof, separated, not very closely connected. But he is always associated with the internal energy. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Matstani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. All living entities are living on me or on my energy, Matstani. But I am not everywhere. Uh, he is personally always situated in the spiritual world. In the material world also, wherever the Supreme Lord is personally present, is to be understood as being the spiritual world. For example, the Lord is worshipped in the temple by pure devotees. The temple is therefore to be understood as being the spiritual world. So this is very important. That is why the atmosphere within a temple has to be like that in Vaikuntha. Uh, so Prabhupada said that this is the oasis in the desert-like material world, oasis where people come get water, they get life really in the desert when there's an oasis. So this temples are like a oasis. And Prabhupada specifically wanted temples to be educational institutions. Our focus needs to be how do we make use of maximum use of space to create opportunities for education, uh, enable people to sit and read Prabhupada's books, chanting, etc. Mm. So the Lord is present means he's glorified. Uh, from Gaudiya Sampradaya, for us, what Srila Prabhupada taught us, um, temple is not just a place of worship like it is for most other like so-called Hindu temples, etc. It's just a place of worship, meaning there's somebody who's doing some archana, etc. And then people come and take Mangalarti, take Prasadam, Charanamrit, etc. and they leave. But for us, that is not necessarily that. For us, the temple is Shravanam Kirtanam. And of course, then we also worship the Lord. Um, but the focus has to be on Shravanam Kirtan. If in case we don't have place for anything else, we should have place for Shravanam Kirtan. But the temple has to be, uh, it is the spiritual world. So that environment has to be created. And the environment is not just created by the ambience that we create, it is created by the devotees. Uh, so, which is why, we emphasize this a lot in all our satsang programs, sadhans, etc. That when people come, they should feel nice, they should feel wanted, they should want to come back again. So we should serve everybody as guests of Krishna with love and affection, and make them feel. Make actually they everybody wants this, this loving relationship, but it's not available outside. And temple has to be the place for that. So if we see somebody coming for the first time to the temple, irrespective of who it is, we should go and speak. Yes, please come. You are Lord Jagannath's guest, like that. So we have to create that atmosphere, mm, spiritual atmosphere, where there is no material envy, there's no kama, krodha, lobha, moha. None of these should exist. And it should just be pure desire to serve Krishna. Yeah, so that is temple environment. तमेव मृत्युम् अमृतं तातदैवं सर्वात्मनोपेहि जगत्परायणं यस्मै बलिं विश्वसृजो हरन्ति गावो यथा वै नसि दामयन्त्रिताः. My dear boy Dhruva, please surrender unto the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is the ultimate goal of the progress of the world. Ultimate goal of the progress, which means that if somebody is saying they are making progress, they should be progressing towards the Supreme Person of Godhead. Everyone, including the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, is working under his control, just as a bull prompted by a rope in its nose is controlled by its owner. We are supposed to be so much controlled. That means that we have to cooperate with the Lord. Prabhupada says. We are not the enjoyers, we are the cooperators. The material disease is to declare independence from the Supreme Controller. Declare independence. We are free. Actually, our material existence begins when we forget the Supreme Controller and wish to lord it over material nature. So our material existence begins when we do this, and it ends when we remember the Supreme Controller and stop trying to lord it over material nature. Otherwise, our material existence continues. Everyone in the material world is trying his best to become the Supreme Controller, individually, nationally, socially, and in many other ways. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to stop fighting by his grandfather, who was concerned that Dhruva was adhering to a personal ambition to fight to annihilate the whole race of Yakshas. See, this is very, very important. Sometimes we get confused whether it's my personal ambition or whether it's the ambition of our acharyas. Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, in the illusion that it is actually the ambition of our acharyas, we tend to do something which might end up to be personal ambition. All projects that leaders take up should not be for personal ambition. It should be for fulfilling the desire of our acharyas. Otherwise, see, even exalted devotee like Dhruva, he got bewildered. So unless we are very, very clear what we are, working towards, and for that we have to have senior guidance. He might be in illusion, but people who are devotees who are more advanced than us, they will have the Shastra Chakshu. They will have the clarity to see if what we are doing seems like personal ambition, then they'll just say, don't do it. And that is the reason it's very important for us to be in touch with senior disciples, senior devotees, so that we don't misconstrue a personal ambition to be the ambition of ISKCON. In this verse, therefore, Swayambhuva Manu seeks to eradicate the last tinge of false ambition in Dhruva by explaining the position of the Supreme Controller. Again, so just like Swayambhuva Manu is reminding Dhruva, hey, by the way, there is a Supreme Controller. You are not the Supreme Controller. So when we forget that, then that last tinge of false ambition will be there. The words Mrityum, Amritam, death and immortality are significant. Of course, like we have discussed, this false ambition will go only when we give what we have possessed, what we possess to Krishna. Only then this last tinge of false ambition will go. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, I am ultimate death, who takes away everything from the demons. The demons' business is to continually struggle for existence as lords over material nature. The demons repeatedly meet death after death and create a network of involvement in the material world, involvement or entanglement. Lord is death for the demons, but for the devotees, he is Amrita, eternal life. Devotees who render continuous service to the Lord have already attained immortality For whatever they are doing in this life, they will continue to do in the next. So this is immortality. Mm. Whatever, if somebody is doing continuous, rendering continuous devotional service, then they are immortal, because whatever they are doing in this life, they will continue to do in the next. They will simply change their material bodies for spiritual bodies. Unlike the demons, they no longer have to change material bodies. See, unlike the demons, devotees no longer have to change material bodies. Um, so Prabhupada is saying they simply change their material bodies for spiritual bodies, but not like the way demons change. Mm. They don't have to change material bodies to get other material bodies. They just change material body for spiritual body. Spiritual body is already there. Mm. Body is already spiritualized. That is how devotees get their spiritual bodies. The Lord therefore is simultaneously death and immortality. He is death for demons and immortality for devotees. He is the ultimate goal of everyone because he is the cause of all causes. Dhruva was advised to surrender unto him in all respects without keeping any personal ambition. Again, Prabhupada is highlighting this. We should not have any personal ambition when we are worshipping Krishna. One may put forth the argument, why are the demigods worshipped? The answer is given here that demigods are worshipped by less intelligent men. The demigods themselves accept sacrifices for the ultimate satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They accept sacrifices on whose behalf? On behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why whenever there is any yagna, homa, etc., then they say Krishna Arpanamastu. They say it's all being offered to Krishna. It is for the satisfaction of Krishna. And demigods are just standing there as uh, on behalf, they are accepting these sacrifices on behalf of the Supreme Lord, and they also offer it to the Supreme Lord. And only when he is satisfied will the results of that sacrifice actually come about. Otherwise, there's no result. And so we have to always remember that he is the supreme controller. Only in illusion do we think that we are the controllers. And yeah, a very important thing is we should, the demons, we should not become demons. We should not remain demons. We were demons before, should not remain demons. Continuously struggle for existence as lords over material nature. This is demons. This is the whole material world. So we should be ready to give up for Krishna, everything for Krishna's pleasure. Give up our sense of lording it over material nature for the pleasure of Krishna. We have to remember that he is the supreme controller. We are all living for his pleasure, not for our pleasure. Living for our pleasure is the life of demons. Living for Krishna's pleasure is the life of devotees. Yeah, and devotees don't die. They don't have death like demons. Okay. य पञ्चवर्षो जननीं त्वं विहाय मातु सपत्न्या वचसा भिन्नमर्मा वनं गतस्तपसा प्रत्यगक्षम् आराध्य लेभे मूर्ध्नि padam त्रिलोक्याः. My dear Dhruva, at the age of only 5 years, you were very grievously afflicted by the words of your mother's co-wife. And you very boldly gave up the protection of your mother and went to the forest to engage in the yogic process for realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a result of this, you have already achieved the topmost position in all the three worlds. Manu was very proud that Dhruva was one of the descendants in his family because at the age of only 5, Dhruva began meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and within 6 months, he was able to see the Supreme Lord face to face. Amazing. Actually, Dhruva is the glory of the Manu dynasty or the human family. The human family begins from Manu. Sanskrit word for man is Manushya, which means descendant of Manu. Not only is Dhruva the glory of the family of Swayambhuva Manu, but he is the glory of the entire human society. Because Dhruva Maharaj had already surrendered to the Supreme Godhead, he was especially requested not to do anything unbefitting a surrendered soul. This is also very, very important. In every aspect of our life, we should always remember we should not do anything unbefitting a member of ISKCON, unbefitting a representative of Srila Prabhupada. Uh, uh, if we are doing anything, for example, maybe we are rash with somebody, or we are driving rashly, or we are in the clothes of devotees and we are behaving like demons. I mean, this is all unbefitting a surrendered soul. Or even if you are not a surrendered soul, we are absolutely, all of us are representatives of Srila Prabhupada, because we all represent ISKCON. So we should never do anything which is befitting a representative of Srila Prabhupada. Always. Because then people will relate with us as, oh, see, mm, devotees of ISKCON are like this. And that will bring bad name to Srila Prabhupada. We are nobody, but we have no right to defame ISKCON or Srila Prabhupada. And Dhruva here is specifically being advised because he was a surrendered soul, and a surrendered soul doesn't act this way. Just like Arjuna was a surrendered soul, but he was bewildered. That is by the desire of the Lord. Similarly, Dhruva is already surrendered. Why would he do something like this? So Manu was, advising him not to do that. Tamyena mangatmani mukta vigrahe vyapashritam nirgunam ekamaksharam atmanamanvichya vimuktam atmadrig yasmin idam bhedam asat pratiyate. Therefore, my dear Dhruva, please turn your attention to the Supreme Person, who is the infallible Brahman. Face the Supreme Person of Godhead in your original position, and thus by self-realization, you will find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. So we also have to turn our attention to the Supreme Person. We are now our attention is partially turned. Face the Supreme Person of Godhead in your original position. Face, look at him. Be positioned in that original position. Also in another way, face him, meaning we should also be, we should do things which will be acceptable to him in our original position. And thus by self-realization, you will find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. The living entities have three kinds of vision according to their positions in self-realization. According to the bodily concept of life, one sees differentiation in terms of varieties of bodies. The living entity actually passes through many varieties of material forms, but despite all such changes of the body, he is eternal. When living entities therefore are viewed in the bodily concept of life, one appears to be different from another because bodies are different, but the Atma is the same. Lord Manu wanted to change the vision of Dhruva, who was looking upon the Yakshas as different from him or as his enemies. So actually, no one is enemy or a friend. Everyone is passing through different types of bodies under the law of karma. But as soon as one is situated in the spiritual identity, he does not see differentiation in terms of this law. In other words, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atmana Sochati na Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. A devotee who is already liberated does not see differentiation in terms of the outward body. He sees all living entities as spirit souls, eternal servants of the Lord. All spirit souls are part and parcel of Krishna. So they're all eternal servants of the Lord. No differentiation on the bodily concept. But that has to be a stage of liberated. That's a liberated stage. We cannot artificially do this. Sometimes devotees are saying that, oh, we understand we are all spirit souls. Why should there be differentiation between male and female? Because we are not at that platform. Simple. If you're actually on that platform, you would not ask this question at all because we would not see at all. We would not see this differentiation. Of course, all devotees, because we are operating in a material platform, Mahajana Yenagatasya Panta, to show the path. Even exalted Uttama Adhikaris also show differentiation between male and female. So there's no question. Like, in Bhagavatam, Vidura, Vyasadev and Shukadev Goswami is going past, and Bhagavatam narrates that Vyasadeva differentiated male and female, even though he's empowered incarnation. Dhruva Maharaj was advised by Lord Manu to see with that vision. He was specially advised to do so because he was a great devotee and should not have looked upon other living entities with ordinary vision because he was already at that stage. Indirectly, Manu pointed out to Dhruva Maharaj that out of material affection, Dhruva thought of his brother as his kin and the Yakshas as his enemies. Such observation of differentiation subsides as soon as one is situated in his original position as an eternal servant of the Lord. See, this has to subside. This differentiation, mine and theirs, or aham mama, and this belongs to me, this does not belong to me. This differentiation, it has to subside, or it subsides in proportion to our remaining in this position as an eternal servant. So the more we are in this position as an eternal servant of the Lord, the more we give up this differentiation. So if we still have differentiation, that means that we don't really we're not seeing ourselves as eternal servants of Lord. We're still seeing ourselves as some material, some kind of jivas. We are relating with the material body. So we have to develop this vision. And that is the reason that it is one of the nama paradas to continue to have this aham and mama feeling. Even after hearing so many things about this subject. We begin our education in spirituality by saying, I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul. But even after so many years, we still remain in the same conception. That's why when my Prabhupada was asked many times saying that why Prabhupada used to repeat the same thing again and again. And devotees used to ask why. And Prabhupada said, because it doesn't take years to understand and actually accept that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul. It's much easier for for brahmacharis and sannyasis. It's much easier. The grihasthas, it's very, very difficult because whole grihastha is, I can't say ashram because if it is ashram, then it should be centered around Lord. But so-called, can't even say grihmedi. We are neither here nor there. We're not living a life of full sense gratification, nor are we living like in ashram. We're somewhere in the middle. One leg here, one leg there. But because this whole marriage and family and all is based on this attachment to kith and kin, so it is a very difficult ashram. That is why we have to look at it as an ashram, and the whole process is training through this ashram to give up this attachment. That is a training. So we have to keep seeing continuously in all situations. We have to keep seeing that everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. Everybody is an eternal servant. This is just a seva that I have been given, and I do it without attachment, without material attachment. But I look at everybody as spirit souls, servants of Krishna, and to start with, first we have to start seeing other devotees on the spiritual platform, because I see that most of the times when devotees meet, we tend to see only on the spiritual, only on the material platform. Somebody is put on weight, somebody will say, oh, you put on weight. Somebody has lost weight, some say you lost weight. Somebody came in a new car, they'll ask, oh, when did you buy this? What model is this? And so conversations between devotees are also seem to be mostly on the material platform. So first we have to start seeing all other devotees on the spiritual platform. Then slowly, steadily, we can start seeing ourselves and our family, etc., also on the spiritual platform. Yeah, we should talk about things which are very much required for spirituality. For example, okay, if somebody is, not wearing Vaishnava clothes, yeah, we can say, please wear Vaishnava clothes. Somebody is, growing a beard, we can say, yeah, please, this is not suitable. But that kind of bodily kind of association is not material. It's just for a nicer execution of Krishna consciousness as required by our acharyas. Prabhupada never encouraged, even during Chaturmasya, any kind of leaving beard and all that. And you still see in ISKCON many devotees leave beard and say Chaturmasya. And none of these things they should not be done. So only on those counts we can, speak on the material platform, not otherwise. Otherwise, it's not required. Mm. Initially, very initially, when some people come to Krishna conscious very newly, yeah, we will to connect with them. We need to connect with them, right? We might speak their language, but not that we continue to remain that way. We have to pull them also on the spiritual platform slowly, gradually. But otherwise, as we make progress in Krishna consciousness, we should understand saying that we can't remain on this material platform. Oh, nice sari. Oh, this, that. All this is just purely mundane, very mundane. Okay. Okay, maybe one more verse. Yeah. त्वं प्रत्यगात्मनि तदा भगवत्यनन्ता आनन्दमात्र उपपन्न समस्तशक्तौ भक्तिं विधाय परमां शनकैरविद्या ग्रन्थिं बिभेत्स्यसि ममाहम् इति प्ररूढम्. Thus regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is the all-powerful reservoir. See, all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure. Is all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure. And who lives in all living entities as the super soul, you will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and my. For those who are thinking, how do I get rid of this illusory I and my? This is the answer. Regaining natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord. The more and more we render service to the Supreme Lord, the more and more we forget the illusory understanding. Because the more and more we are engaged in service, the more and more we will remember, oh, I am the servant of Krishna. And then more and more we'll give up this misunderstanding of I and my. Dhruva was already a liberated person because at the age of 5 he had seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But even though liberated, he was for the time being afflicted by the illusion of Maya, thinking himself the brother of Uttama in the bodily concept of life. The whole material world is working on the basis of I and mind. This is the root of attraction to the material world. If one is attracted by this root of illusory conceptions, I and mine, he will have to remain within the material world in different exalted or nasty positions. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the sages and Lord Manu reminded Dhruva that he should not continue this material conception of I and mine. And this is what Acharyas are reminding us. This is what Srila Prabhupada is reminding us. Simply by devotional service unto the Lord, his illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. See, again, this is also a statement for all of us who might be doubting or thinking, no, this is not possible. Prabhupada is saying simply, meaning don't have to do anything else. Simply do devotional service. And whenever Prabhupada talks about devotional service, it means pure devotional service. So for our understanding, simply by executing pure devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, or more so, simply by executing transcendental, pure, loving devotional service unto the Lord, this illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. So the focus has to be how we engage in service of the Lord. That has to be the focus. And then the more we are engaged deeply, the more more easy this getting rid of this illusion will be. It will be very easy for us to get rid of the illusion. Of course, one is, the kind of material body we have got. If you've got a female body, then possibly is slightly more difficult naturally. But yeah, it's not that it's only there for the illusion for women is different. The illusion for men is different. Women might be in illusion of, family and relations. Men are in illusion of money and position. So it's either this or that. Something is, we are bound by this I and mine. And yeah, we have to work. We have to work to get out of this. And the only way is to just drown ourselves in loving devotional service to the Lord. There is no other way. Okay, so I'll stop here if anybody has any questions, comments. Like no comments. Okay, then we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantapuri Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Everything, Ram, to everybody.